SecureAPlus has gone through a major upgrade, so it's time for a retest. This is Leo, and you're watching the PC Security channel. As is immediately apparent, we have a design change. I like the new layout, however some aspects of the new UI can seem a little bit unpolished, especially the dialog boxes when they pop up. I think a bit of shadows might help, but I'm no design expert, so I'm just gonna say that this is an okay design. It's not eye candy, but it gets the job done. It is very accessible though. On the home screen, we can immediately check to make sure that our software is up to date. We can choose between 3 interesting modes: interactive, lockdown, and trust all. And I think this is very handy. We can also do a full system scan and check quarantine and history. So they've got the layout part right. Now going into settings, we still have the universal AV, which runs in the cloud and has a plethora of engines from Avira and Bitdefender to Sophos and even Quick Heal. We have a daily upload limit for those with data caps. In scan settings, we have the offline antivirus option, the universal AV, and real-time scanning, each of which can be independently enabled and disabled. Then we have some customization options in application whitelisting, which is kind of one of the main features of this program. It's very similar to Komodo in that sense. And we have our usual update settings. Since I've looked at this program before, without further ado, let's get to the review. So here are our malware links. We have 8 of these, and we're just going to try them out and see if SecureAPlus can protect us. So here we go with the first link, file.exe, and we're going to try to execute it. We already have a pop-up, and it says threat detected by the universal AV, MCSoft, Microsoft Security Essentials, McAfee, AVG, Bitdefender, and ESET. It shows us all the engines that detect this threat and gives us several options. So I like the alerts. I mean, it's very informative, but the design, I don't know. It looks a little bit too flashy to me. I think they could make it a bit better, but hey, I mean, it's just the design. The functionality is the most important part, and that is well taken care of. So we're going to delete the threat. We didn't get our file today. Let's try our second link. We'll go ahead and run it. For some reason, we have an error code here, and Universal AV was unable to process this file for some reason, but we have the virus total detection ratio, and that is 35 out of 56. And the default option is to continue blocking. So that's what I'm going to click, and that takes care of that. So we're on to link number 3. This is a screensaver file. Once again, Universal AV says unknown. Virus total detection ratio is 3 out of 56. But since it's not signed, we are still recommended to continue blocking it. I'm going to see if these kind of alerts pop up for legitimate applications later on, but for the moment, I'm going to say continue blocking since that's the green option. This is the 4th URL. This time it's caught by the universal AV, that is the signature component. So we're going to delete it. Here's the next link, startpage.exe. Once again, universal AV catches it easily. So we're just going to delete it. Here's a kind of adware. Let's try running it. See what happens. I was wrong. Doesn't look like an adware from here. It seems like it's Win32 Ramnet. This domain usually serves adware, so that was just a guess. But I'll tell you what's not a guess, the detection. It's 11 out of 12, so Couldn't be clearer. Let's move on to the next link. This has a really weird name. Now this is interesting. So we have the application whitelisting alert again, and this time it says it's an untrusted file, but it is signed, and the universal AV says that it's clean. But VirusTotal gives us a detection ratio of 35 out of 56. Now, what's odd here is that a lot of engines, which are supposedly part of the universal AV, like Bitdefender, ESET, they all detect it. So why was this not detected by the universal AV? It doesn't even say unknown, it says it's clean. So that is giving me some doubts as to how exactly the universal AV functions, and I have a feeling it's not really the same as actually using all these engines, because quite clearly we have a contradiction here. Bitdefender seems to detect it when it's sent up to VirusTotal, but the universal AV, which is supposed to include the Bitdefender engine, says it's clean. However, it still recommends that you continue blocking the file even though it's signed, just because of the VirusTotal detection, and I think that's smart. That kind of makes up for the lacking implementation of engines in the universal AV. The threat was blocked, although not very convincingly. It was VirusTotal that saved the day. Now this one's caught easily. 6 detections. So we're going to go ahead and delete it. Autorun.exe is an untrusted file, so we'll continue blocking. So that's that. SecureAPlus managed a clean sheet in the link test, which is great. Now the alerts, I think they need a different kind of design scheme for the alerts. Maybe a smaller, more smooth and friendly looking alert where you can just expand it to get additional information. That would be better for a larger audience. The way it is right now, it's great for people like me who want to get all the information, but it may scare some novice users. I can easily think of a lot of situations where people are not going to be able to make sense of the information the way it's presented right now. Having said that, protection-wise, it did a great job. So let's move on to the malicious files. Before we get to the next part of the test, I just wanted to make a quick side note, since I'm kind of sure that someone from SecureAPlus will be watching this. I would like to have a disable real-time protection option in the right-click menu, and at the moment it is not present. So I think it would make sense to add it over here. Just a minor point, no big deal really, but I feel that it's kind of handy to have that option over here instead of having to go into the scan settings. So now I'm going to go ahead and do a right-click scan of our malware folder, which contains 833 items. These are all fresh malware samples. So let's do our scan and see what we get. So now it's asking for permission to upload any kind of file to the server for better detection. So I'm going to say yes. Now once again, I'll have to make a quick point here that this program relies heavily on their cloud support, and it wouldn't be half as effective without it. So if you're someone who lives in a developing country and you don't have access to fast internet with no data caps, I'm not sure if this would be the best product for you. But the good news here is that the scan seems to be really fast. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting it to be a bit slower since it has to check up with the cloud, but it's going at a very good pace. So let's see how long this takes. Well, I think the scan is complete, but it did not give me any kind of scan completed pop-up, or there were no visual changes to indicate that, which is odd. So again, some things need to be polished further in terms of the design. But it took around 4 minutes and 23 seconds, and it says it has detected 833 items, which is the same number as the number of items that we have. So we'll have to remove it and see if it's actually 100% detection. Another thing that's interesting to note is that it only had to upload one file. So I'm guessing the offline signatures did a really good job, or it doesn't have to upload all the files to check up with their cloud. So whatever the implementation, it seems to be pretty good in terms of scanning, because the scan was fairly quick and it did not have to upload a lot of files. And I really like how you get the exact engines that detect a particular file and the number on the side. So if you're in doubt, you can always look that up. We're going to go ahead and delete all of these threads, and it's done. I deleted all the files which had any number of detections, but by default it had 2 files which it did not select for deletion because of, I guess, low detections. But I just selected all of the files and removed them. So now let's see what we're left with. Wow, quite right, we're left with nothing. That is 100% detection, which is kind of what you'd expect given the number of engines it's running, but it's still impressive to see that it actually achieved that. So the engine implementation may not be so bad after all. What can I say about SecureAPlus? I'm impressed. It seems to check all the boxes when it comes to protection. It has a very good zero-day component powered by whitelisting and varstol scanning. It uses a ton of engines and managed to achieve a very high detection ratio. It deals with untrusted files very nicely and provides all the information to the user. Most of the process is still automated. So there are a lot of good things about this product, and if you haven't used it or tried it out already, I would strongly recommend trying it out yourself to see if you like it, because something like this could very well be one of the go-to applications in the future for security. The only downside that I can think of is what happens when you run legitimate programs. Now, most of the programs I have over here are signed, so I'm pretty sure it's not going to interfere with those. But if you do have some unknown applications which are safe, you could have a problem there. But again, that is corrected thanks to the varstol scan. So you always have that thing to refer to. And let's face it, that's what we do. Even when I come across an unknown file, the first thing I do is upload it to varstol to see the scan results. And to have that done in real time is a great feature indeed. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to appreciate this. So even though they may not do as much research and contribute to security with a lot of their own analysis, a tool like this is very handy for people. It's one of the best ways I can think of keeping your computer protected and using the best of all the antivirus technology that's out there. So let me know your thoughts on SecureAPlus in the comments below. I think this is a very interesting product, and over time it's only going to get better. I will be looking forward to testing it out again in the future when they make a few more changes, and I think we might see more and more products use this kind of technology and whitelisting to deal with zero-day malware. Maybe when that happens, I'll have to do more kinds of tests to really come to a conclusion on this approach, but for the meantime, this is the review of SecureAPlus. I hope you enjoyed it. Do like the video if you did, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the PC Security channel. And as always, stay informed, stay secure.